Hello and welcome to Not Another Triathlon Podcast from British Triathlon. It's the podcast to get you in the best possible shape on the start line. I'm Mark Shardlow and today we've come to Manchester and we've come here because it's the home of our two guests. Let me introduce them to you. Party boys who've given up the booze and found triathlon. For one, it's gone from the reality TV show Love Island to the North Sea and Sunderland. Guys, I'm going to let you introduce yourselves. Scott, first of all, tell us a bit about yourself.
So my name's Scott Thomas. I am a former party boy. I don't know why I'm so proud about that. But yeah, I reckon I class myself now as a self-development influencer. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a businessman as well. But yeah, me and Brad used to throw parties for a living. And what that entailed was we ran nightclubs nightclub events across the UK, Marbella, Ibiza, overseas. And we lived a very crazy lifestyle. And it used to be our job to promote nightclubs, getting people in there, drinking, bottle popping, partying. Whereas now both of us have gone on a bit of a lifestyle change where we're now trying to use our platforms to encourage people to do stuff like this, go and do triathlons, go on walks, just promoting wellness all around now, which is a massive shift for us.
Brad?
He's pretty much just said it all, mate. Yeah, so obviously we've gone from one certain lifestyle to another, and I much prefer the person that I am now. I wouldn't change anything because, again, that's kind of built me into the man I am today. And I'm enjoying it. I'm riding the wave. Fell in love with the triathlon stuff. Always loved the bike, running, swimming, combining it all into one. And yeah, here we are. We've done.
And he's just completed his the Rock Tri.
I've done the Rock, the Rock Tri.
That's mad, isn't it?
That was a 1.5k swim, 50k on the bike, Summit Snowdon up and down, back on the bike for 50k, and then a 1k beach sprint to finish, which was. Yeah, it was. It took me to some dark places at times, but we did it in. I wanted to get anything under 7 hours and did it in 6:43. So,
well done. That's amazing.
I was happy with it.
What I want to say is that you get early access to this podcast if you're a British Triathlon member. So come along and join the family. There's something for everyone. The different categories of membership. So please have a check out of the website and join the family. In the past podcast, we've looked at getting ready for the season. We've looked at the transition to 3 sports from 1. But today, guys, we're looking at the first triathlon. And there'll be people who've been through the process and know what it's like. There'll be others that are getting ready for their first triathlon. And there'll be others that are just procrastinating. Shall I do it? Shan't I do it? When did you guys do your first triathlon? Let me start with you, Scott.
So I actually went to watch Brad do his first one. I think it was in Media City.
Media City, yeah.
About a year ago.
I think it was about 15 months, yeah.
Something like that. So that kind of inspired me. And then obviously British Triathlon came on as an official sponsor of my podcast. And my podcast is all about learning as I go, trying something new. And I thought, you know what? I'm at a point where I always train to try and look good and just to feel good. But I've never really done anything to kind of push myself out of my comfort zone and tried like a new discipline. So this came at the right time. And so I took on my first sprint triathlon in, it was July, wasn't it?
Yep.
In Sunderland. And for me, because I'm quite naturally skinny and tall, and I really struggled to put on muscle mass, I didn't want to do the full triathlon because I find I burn a lot of muscle mass if I do too much cardio. So I thought the sprint triathlon is perfect for me. It gives me an opportunity to kind of learn the 3 disciplines, but do it at a distance that I can kind of deal with. And that goes in line with my other kind of training as well, because I'm really into strength training. But yeah, I turned up to Sunderland and nothing could prepare me for race day. Like it was like a military operation. All the things you had to remember, the transitions, like getting your bike into position. Luckily, I had Brad with me and our friend Luke Massey as well, who'd done like Ironmans and stuff before. But yeah, you feel like a proper athlete on the day. And the whole process for me was just, it was life-changing. I haven't done anything like that in my whole entire life. And yes, it was a sprint triathlon, but I was still pushing myself. I managed to get a 20-minute 5K at the end, which I was really proud about. But it just shows how much I really wanted to push myself. And at the end of it, you just feel like you've achieved something huge. So it was a massive achievement for me.
You said life-changing. I mean, I alluded to it at the start.
Yeah.
I mean, you said yourself, party boy, Love Island.
Yeah.
Looking good. It seems a million miles away from, to be fair, Sunderland and the North Sea.
Yeah. If someone asked me, even 4 or 5 years ago, that I'd be in the sea on a Saturday morning with 400 people with a swimming cap on, a wetsuit, swimming for my life, I wouldn't have believed it. I wouldn't have believed it. And even on the road bike, I've never been on a road bike before in my life, and it's just There's something.
well, mate. You did a good
I
job.
think that's what life is all about, right? It's about growth. It's about trying new things, and sometimes we all play it very safe in our day-to-day lives. We might go to the gym or do the standard class, whereas with a triathlon, you are coming well out of your comfort zone and you're trying something new. And I think doing it with your mates as well was really special.
Brad, as Scott said, you got his inspiration from you.
Yeah.
Tell us about the journey that you had to get to the start line for your first.
So
triathlon.
again, I was kind of at a bit of a place where it was, again, going back to the party days. I just needed to break the mold of it a little bit. So I needed to set myself a goal. Now, I know if I'm working and training towards something, I'll lock in. I'm all or nothing. That's just me as a person. So yeah, I remember just coming off a weekend. I thought, right, I need to do something now. Get a bit of a plan together and sign up to something that I know I'm going to stick to. So did 3 months training, did the first sprint triathlon.
Well, why triathlon? Because I think a lot of people in that situation would go and run a marathon or something like that.
Yeah, do you know what? It was because I enjoyed all three. And I'm like, right, well, how can I combine them all? And then obviously, I knew about triathlons, but I didn't really know much about it until I've looked into it. And I'm like, do you know what? Why not just sign up to it? And then you can pull out of it, but then if you pull out of it, what's your excuse? And I signed up to it. And then when you start telling people, and people are now expecting you to obviously race.
It's accountability, isn't it?
Accountability, yeah. Which was beautiful for me because then it kept me focused and it kept me on job. And then the next thing is it's race day, but I knew I already did the training. But obviously I was still going into the unknown a little bit because, like you say, the transition stuff, like the first transition that I did at the sprint, it was 5 or 6 minutes. Now the transition that I did last week was coming up to 2 minutes. So you're picking things up. I was a lot more relaxed, whereas at the first one I was rushing things.
I don't think you can prepare for those transitions and stuff until you actually get to the day. Like, do you know what I mean? You have to go through it. That's why I want to do another one, because it's almost like I feel like I've learned so much from doing the actual experience itself.
But then that also comes with preparation. Like I know I prepared a lot better with the one I've just done than I've done with the other 2 sprint triathlons. Again,
what do you mean preparation? Like physically, put the hours in on?
Oh, you was on it, weren't you?
Yeah, I was on it. Yeah, obviously I had a lot more time to prep. I went down there 2 days earlier. Just things that I've picked up from the other 2 that I didn't know before it. Just small things.
But also the sprint triathlon, let's get it right, we're fit, like healthy lads anyway. And I reckon you can, and that's why the sprint triathlon's a good one to do for for someone who's doing one for the first time, because it's a good entry level. You can kind of blag it, can't you? In a way, you can get away with it,
If
right?
you've got a level of fitness.
A level of fitness. Whereas
exactly.
with what you were doing just now, there was
you
no
had to
blagging that. That was like,
no, that was tough. Yeah, that was deep waters.
What were the distances? Tell them.
So it was a 1.5k swim, which is equivalent to like 90 lengths, which is double.
In the sea,
double.
off Abersock, was it?
Yeah, it was
Wow.
in the sea, which I actually quite enjoyed in a weird way. It was I think it was 18, 19 degrees, straight out the sea. Obviously you got your T1, and then you're straight on your bike, which was 500 elevation, 50k, and then from your bike you're at transition 2, which is straight up Snowdon.
Wow.
That's the bit that gets me.
Yeah, well, Snowdon's it's 12k up and down, but obviously elevation at 1,000. So it was tough getting up, and then obviously coming down. Then you've just got to concentrate, because any little slip, mate, and you, like you say, you're gone. But straight off Snowdon, and then back on the bike for another 50k. So coming back the way you come, and then it's a 1k sprint finish at the end. So. The relief and the feeling from getting over the finish line. I had all the boys there who's cheering me on. It was
You have to put the time in to do something like that. I mean, that's like on another level. I mean, even the idea of that just it kind of scares me. But I think like Brad's done, you go in at a sprint triathlon level. It's a really good entry level to pick up a few things, learn about the disciplines, learn about how it unfolds on race day. And then you can push yourself onto the next one. And what Brad's done there is just incredible.
So when you did yours in Sunderland, your first one, you said you're fit guy. Did you run?
Yeah, I mean,
you were okay. You were comfortable with a 5k run.
Yeah.
What about swim and bike? I mean, did it feel a long way? How far did it feel when you were actually doing it?
The swimming was always going to be the most difficult for me. I've been doing lots of different swimming lessons. I've been doing lessons with the U Swim guys in open water out here. I've had a few lessons, but it's like unlearning everything you've ever known about swimming. As a kid, I thought it was about going really fast, kicking your legs, and it was about, I didn't really understand the breathing side of it. Whereas what I actually learned is that it's all about slowing everything right down. It's all about the head movement, your breath work, your big strokes, and it's just basically unlearning everything I ever knew. And sometimes you crack it and you feel amazing because you think, wow, I've just traveled so quick then, I just glided. But then as soon as I got into open water, I'm not going to lie, everything kind of went out the window. I just reverted straight back to breaststroke. But because I put so much work into the lessons, every now and then I'd incorporate some front crawl. However, the reason why I want to do the sprint triathlon again is because I want to go back and really be a polished kind of swimmer and really perfect that craft, because it's so difficult to get right. But listen, I was really happy with my time. I just didn't stop. I was breaststroking most of it. I did it in 18 minutes, which is a respectful time. And then the bike, again, like I've got my first road bike. Brad's been riding bikes for years now. And I've got my first road bike, but just learning how to put the cleats in. How many times did I come off?
Yeah, you did, yeah.
I was putting on my Instagram story. I literally came off at the traffic lights, rolled over, people stopping. And it's like, and just little things like learning how to wear the cleats and just, I just know that I've got the basics now, but now it's about progressing it. And I've kind of got the bug as well. And the running's just something that comes naturally to me. I've always been a good runner. But yeah, those two, that's what I love. It's just, and when you start to see it click as well, you see the progression.
It's addictive.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think once you do your first one, you're not looking back, and then you're looking at more events. Like as soon as I finished on weekend, I was like, right, what can I do next? I want something bigger. So yeah, I think it's like you say, you get that bug for it, and it's a good feeling. You feel good in yourself.
I wonder what it is with like people like me and Brad. It's like we're always looking for that natural high. Like I think that's why we partied so much. Brad mentioned before he was all or nothing, and we were like that in partying as well. Like, and even in work, sometimes I'm like that. And I think it's about trying to find that balance. But I think there is that element that we're always looking
for the next thing
that's going to give us that rush. And even like Brad's coming here today, and I can see I'm not seeing him since the race. And he's very calm. He's very like, do you know what I mean? It's weird seeing him like this. You can tell like he's something's been released from him.
It's a build up though. Do you know what I mean? And you've got all these mixed emotions. Like I put a post out last night, and I'll be honest, on the first bike leg, I had a tear to myself. Like in the last I got 40k in, and I felt, you know, when you feel good, and I'm like, oh, I've got myself here to this point now. I've done this. I had a little cry, mate, and then bang, then I was ready to go again. But it's like you say, you can never. It's just a big mix of emotions. Like you don't know what's going on and how you're feeling, but I knew it was good emotions, and I tunneled that into the race.
Are you sure you weren't crying though, because you knew you had to go and climb Snowdon?
Yeah.
You're just coming to the end of the bike going, oh, I've got to do this now. I've got to take Snowdon.
I actually felt good though.
Because you felt strong.
Yeah, I felt strong, yeah. And then obviously after the race, I think I'm quite critical anyway of everything, but I'm looking back then, and even though I knew it was a good time, I'm thinking, could I have pushed myself even more? But on the first leg, I'm thinking, no, just keep your heart rate above like your 140s and get to Snowdon, so you're not knackered as such, so you know you can get up and get down it. But then I felt good, and I'm like, right, I could have shaved another 10 minutes off. So then you're kind of looking back and thinking, right, if I do it again, this is what I know I can improve on, which is great.
It's mad because I'm reading a book in a minute called Relentless by that Tim Grover who trained like Michael Jordan and stuff. And he said that and he calls them cleaners. Cleaners are people who just like take responsibility for stuff. They're always pushing for more, and they're always analysing how they could have done better. And I think we've kind of got that nature in us to a certain extent. But I think there's something euphoric about it. Like honestly, I only did the sprint triathlon, but I remember this moment, right? I was coming towards the end of my run, and my leg just cramped up. And I'm not used to pain because I'll be honest, I live quite a sheltered, soft life. I think there is an element that we are a little bit soft sometimes in our day to day. And I cramped up, and my immediate reaction was like, no, like it's like I've been shot. I was like, I can't carry on. And the next thing I heard David Goggins' voice in my head, like, pain is temporary. Like, do you know what I mean? The next thing, and I just went, I've got to power through now. Yeah. And I did. I overcame the pain, and I went and caught this guy up who I wanted to chase. And I just think it just pushes you out of your comfort zone. And I think as human beings, we sometimes play it too safe, and we live our day-to-day lives. And those moments when you're surrounded by people and you're with your mates and you're in the open water and you're running, there's no better feeling. And I think you can't really get that from just popping to the gym or going to a local class. It's about taking on something big like that.
It's a lot of it is a mental battle as well. Like I've finished that, and I noticed some of the boys there who first time they've ever been to, like you say, a triathlon, and they're interested now in, right, how did you feel? So kind of like debating, like, well, can I do this? Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
You just got to focus, like you say. My advice would be just sign up, hold yourself accountable for it, and then next thing, like you say, do the training.
Because the mentality is really interesting, isn't it? Because I mean, for me, just going to swim in the sea would be a big hurdle. You know,
I think
like,
that's with everyone, though. I think
Yeah.
I think personally, I do think from people who I've spoke, that's the bit that stops people from like, well, should I do it? Should I not? Honestly, it's nowhere near as bad as what you think. Like, you just got. I can see how it can be daunting to some people, but a few swimming lessons, getting your technique right, just getting used to the water again. And then on the race day, your adrenaline just takes over anyway.
Yeah, and it's like I mentioned before, it's just about completing the first one.
Yeah, just get it done.
Just get it done, and if you have to do breaststroke and do it all the way around, pretty much like I did.
I did it on my first one, to be honest.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's just about getting in there, completing it, and then you look to progress and perfect things as time goes on. But I think a lot of us are waiting for the perfect moment or to be at the perfect stage of our life to do something like this. And I think, like Brad said before, it's just about just going for it, booking it in, and just like.
There's never going to be a perfect moment, and then that'll be what stops you.
Yeah.
You just got to do it.
Oh, you know what? That's reminding me. I'm going to have to speak to Chris and the guys. I need to book my sprint triathlon. I'm going to try and do it today. So it's done. That's just inspired me.
Number 2?
Number 2, yeah. I need to get it done.
What you did say earlier that I picked up on is that you had some coaching.
Yeah.
Swimming coaching. I wondered how that helped along the way.
Oh, I think it's integral. Just to give you that peace of mind. We had the luxury of going down to Leeds to train with the British Triathlon guys and Non Stanford as well, who's obviously the European champion. And just to hear from those guys, like the kind of, just the little simple techniques and the little things that give you that edge, and even just like learning the transitions. And I just think you can't really teach it yourself. You need to surround yourself with people who've been there and done it. And it might not be obviously a European champion, but it might be, you'll be surprised at how many people in your local community or friends. Once I started doing this, I started to realise so many people started coming out of the woodwork going, yeah, it's like even Will Kennedy, your mate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? People you never even knew they did, because it's almost like a little clicky, like almost like secret circle. And once you're in, people start coming out of the woodworks and start like almost getting newfound respect for you as well. So I think it's really important to surround yourself with people who've been there, done it. There's good apps out there like Training Peaks as well, which is a really good one which you can track all your progress on. I think there's lots of that stuff on YouTube you can watch as well. But yeah, once you're in the British Triathlon community, there's so many people who want to help you, and you need to learn from them as well.
And you went on a training camp as well?
Oh, that was incredible.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was good because like me and Brad now, and this is what happens when you do stuff like this. You end up inspiring other people through doing something for yourself. You end up inspiring other people around you, and I think that's there's something very powerful in that, innit?
That's the biggest. I get the biggest thrill off that, and like people asking me about it. And I'm like, I'm still a novice in this sport, but I'm giving my advice that I've picked up on from over the past 12 months, and then I think, where could I be in 12 months? Like, this is what I know already, and this is what I feel like this is what I've achieved. Where could I be in another 12 months? But yeah, it's like you say.
So yeah, the retreat was a really good kind of place for us to bring some of our friends, bring other people who wanted to get into the sport, and just show them how easy and accessible it is as well. Like we did like mountain biking as well. Obviously we did the swimming in the local pool, just showing that you don't have to have a top of the range road bike. You don't have to go to an open lake. You can do this in like local like communities and facilities, and just use the resources you've got and just get going. And I think that's what we kind of really tried to use the retreat to highlight.
And you're also doing it for yourself, so I mean you can have fun with it as well. Which is, but I will say though, the more you do and the more you get into it, you start pushing yourself, and then you go for them times. That's where I'm at with it now.
You said you inspired people. Is that your mates that you've been inspiring?
Just obviously we've both got a following. I've obviously got a following from doing like different shows and stuff. Brad's got a following from being my mate, and no, but Brad's built up his own following as well over the years, and he's got a strong network. And I think it's not even people. Obviously, you inspire people, and that's beautiful. But it's like just random people every day just popping up, going, honestly, mate, you've inspired me to do this. And do you know what I mean? I know Brad's getting a lot of it, and obviously with the sobriety stuff and the lifestyle change, and yeah, it's a nice feeling knowing that you've gone from promoting a certain lifestyle, which isn't necessarily good for people, to promoting something that now is really beneficial and pushing people out of the comfort zones.
It's a beautiful feeling, and it also, I don't think people kind of expect it to come from certain people. So when you openly speak about where you was at in terms of a place, yeah, it wasn't a nice place. When you look back at it now, yeah, it was a bit of a rough time in your life, and you felt like you were stopping yourself from being able to do certain things. So obviously when they hear it off certain people, like you say, it gives them inspiration as well. Like, if they're feeling a certain way, well, if you can do it, then so can I.
Let's just delve a bit into where you were then at that time. What was life like? When were we talking, like mid-20s, early 20s?
So, literally, I would say from the age of like 21 to like 29, something like that. We were throwing parties. And Brad was like the original like guy in Manchester. He had the first. I remember when he was 18, I went to his nights and I looked up to him so much. And we had this glamorous job of basically promoting nightclubs, bringing girls in. I had like celebrities down every week, and it was glamorous and it was a rock star life for a long time. But over time, like, basically our job was basically being the loudest guy in the room, the craziest person at the party, to try and bring that atmosphere. And as we got older, and obviously Brad went into business, I went into business, these bad habits and this like kind of self-sabotage behavior around drinking kind of carried on. And we couldn't just go out for a couple of drinks. It was always like we'd go out on a Thursday and we could not come back till Saturday morning. Do you know what I mean? And like, honestly, it was like that. It was quite like, I'm not trying to kind of play it down. No. And there's a lot of people out there doing the same thing. And in my generation, our generation, like we kind of thought that was cool. And that's all we ever really knew. Like, if it's someone's birthday, you go out, you get steaming. If someone gets a new job, you go out, you get steaming. If someone dies, you get steaming.
It was any excuse.
Yeah.
And then obviously, then when you've got that image of yourself and that's your kind of character, everybody expects you to behave in certain ways. And at a time, I think you just get caught up with it. You're lost. Like, I didn't think I was doing, I'm not saying I was doing anything drastically wrong, but when I look back at it now, I was thinking, wow. Like, it just passes you by. Yeah,
listen, I mean, I used to wake up with serious lows. Like, every, like, Monday morning, I'd be driving to the gym again going, why have I done this again? Like, do you know what I mean? And for some reason, I couldn't snap out of it. I couldn't break out of it because I didn't know anything other than that. Yeah. And there was no kind of, like, role models on social media or talking from a place that we would relate to. Yeah. You've seen people talking about alcohol addiction and like stuff like that, but it's from a rehab perspective. For us, it wasn't about we were addicted or we were alcoholics. It was more the fact that we were kind of trapped in a life cycle that we couldn't get out of. Yeah. And I think that's what we want to be kind of living proof to everybody now, is that in the space of a year, 6 months, you can massively change your life, but you need to have things in place that are going to help you do that. And I think stuff like doing triathlons and living a healthy lifestyle, and like we play a lot of paddle tennis, and it's all about having different tools and resources that you can pull on that are going to keep you out of trouble and give you that new kind of purpose.
What was the moment then that life changed? Who changed first of the two of you?
You changed a bit before me.
Yeah, I think I went first, but only because I was like, when I drank, I could be an idiot. And I could get myself into a lot of trouble. I had no filter. I'd become the Scottish special. And whereas when Brad drank, he was like, he wouldn't like himself and he'd probably beat himself up for a while afterwards, but he didn't upset other people. And whereas my behaviour started to impact other people around me and stuff. And even my business, affecting my business, that was a big moment for me. So when that happened, I realised that I needed to make a big change. So I went first. I did 12 months sober. And Brad was so supportive, to be fair to him. Like, you know, you get some mates who are like, come on, mate. He knew that I was doing it for me. And he was really encouraging. I think your good friends know that. And he never begged me to come out or like, come on, mate, have a drink, mate. It was never like that. But then you could see over time that he kind of...
That had an effect on me, I'll be honest with you, because obviously you kind of then, Scott, you kind of fall into different things. And then obviously I'm kind of still doing what I'm doing. Not half as bad as what it was back in the day, but I'm
gradual
seeing him
change,
waking up fresh every day, getting at it, obviously attacking his goals, etc. And I'm like, do you know what? I need that life. Like this is not really for me anymore.
But then it's mad actually, because I went sober for a year. Then because I didn't want to be the boring sober guy, I started drinking again for for the last 2 years before after that. But not every day or anything like that, just every now and then. But then, a bit more balance. But I still hate myself every time I drank. Next thing, he goes sober, right? And he's flying. And then my other mate, Tom Kelly, he went sober as well. So they're all going, and then I see all them not living the dream again. So I went, right, that's it. I'm going back sober again. So now it's kind of like,
now you're full.
Teetotal now. That's me done. And there's strength in numbers, there's strength in like when you've got people in the same wave as you, it really does help. And these boys, so it's like I inspired him the first time, but then he inspired me again. So it's kind of like we're just all, and even yesterday, like at the weekend when he did his triathlon, like I found myself going for a 5K run that morning. I found myself like doing a blaze class in the evening, like because it was just like, Do you know what I mean? You feed off that energy, and I think that's so important.
It does help that you've got someone to be accountable with. I think
100 million
training
percent.
partner is amazing.
Of course it does, yeah.
And it's great that you've followed the same journey and come through it and training together and competing. Competing together
we're much
again.
better guys. No.
Yeah.
Well, I prefer myself now a lot more anyway.
Right.
Oh, that's the key, isn't it? It's about, like, it sounds cheesy, but falling in love with yourself again. And like, I can't really doubt myself. Like, if I have a tough day or a bad day, I know that it's okay because it's not self-inflicted.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're sat there in bed, like hungover, like, and you know you've done it to yourself and your goals are moving out of sight, it's really hard to kind of love yourself. Whereas now it's like, you know what? If I'm having a bad day, it's not my fault. It's like I'm doing everything I can, and it's just about keeping moving forward. And I think that's the difference.
And you did Love Island.
Yeah.
Was it series 2?
Series 2, yeah. Basically, because Brad didn't take it, I got the job. No, that's actually a true story. I went in. True story. I went into for the casting directors.
We couldn't get you
room,
in, so we'll have you.
And I saw Brad Howard's name on the thing at the top of the list. I went, what's going on there? Why is he there? Oh, we couldn't get him. I went, oh, sound. I'll take it. But yeah, I did Love Island in 2016. But it was a great platform for me. It was always going to be a platform in terms of, I had the social PR business at the time, which I've still got. And I wanted to go in there to raise a profile of that. But at the same time, I always felt like I belonged in some way, shape or form. A little bit in the limelight. My dad was a soul singer. My brothers are both actors. You can tell by today, I like to talk. I like to be on camera and I like to share my story and stuff. So I think it was a great platform for me and I'm still using it to this day. I've still got those followers that I got from that show. Don't get me wrong, I'm losing some of them now because I'm talking about sobriety and self-development, but that's okay. But I'm really grateful for that show did for me because it gave me a massive platform which I can use for stuff like this now.
And is that community supportive of you, transitioning from, as you said, party boy to, athlete, triathlete?
Oh, well, I get unfollowed on a daily basis. Thousands of people unfollow me on a daily basis, but then 1,000 of more new people come in. So it's kind of like, but I much rather have less followers and have people follow me for the right reasons who are engaged in what I'm trying to do, rather than waiting for Scott Thomas from Love Island 2016 to pop up with his top off. Don't get me wrong, I will pop up with my top off every now and then.
The swim hat on as well.
Yeah, do you know what? I've made that look sexy. I actually have. Somehow I've made the swim cap look sexy. But yeah, so it's really good to go onto those shows and do things like that if you've got a purpose or a kind of plan behind it. And I think I've kind of done that over time.
And you've both sort of been ambassadors for British Triathlon. Brad, you're still doing ambassadorial work.
Yep.
And it's great that we've got people from your background just showing that, there are all sorts of people involved in our sport.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Listen, I got given an amazing opportunity, which I'm still living. And it's great because, again, it just keeps me accountable. I love it anyway. So it's not like, it doesn't feel like work to me because it's something that I enjoy. And like you say, bringing awareness around the sport and getting everybody else involved, people who would never probably even have heard of a triathlon before. There's no better feeling, and it's great to see certain faces now taking the sport up, and that's come from obviously seeing your work.
Honestly, he just loves this. Like he just every now and then drop me a message, goes, Scott, just because obviously I introduced him to the guys at first, and he goes, honestly, man, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. He just loves it, and I think it's so important for people like Brad and myself as well to be talking about it, because I think people have this perception that triathlons are kind of elitist in a way, like you've got to be an athlete to take it on. And I think what Brad's doing especially is making it accessible to people now. And I guarantee after like what he did at the weekend, he'll have so many more people with him at the next one. And I think that's what it's all about.
What are you going to plan next then, Brad?
Next year, I've been looking at
Ironman.
I'm going to do an Ironman.
Yeah.
I'll throw it out there now. 1,000,000% I'm going to do an Ironman full. I'm going to do a couple of halves, a couple of 70.3s first, and then Ironman's the big one.
How much more is half triathlon than when you did it the weekend? Is it a lot more? Half an Ironman, sorry.
What do you mean, half an Ironman?
So half an Ironman in terms of distances, how much more is it than the one you did at the weekend?
So that is it's a 2K swim.
Right.
2.4. And then it is.
It's a bit of a different breakup, isn't it?
15 on the bike, and then it's a 21K run at the end, which is half.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because it was so unique, the
Yeah.
event you did running up Snowdon.
Well, it was a little bit different. It was a triathlon as such,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a road run. Whereas,
Yeah.
like you say, triathlons, you finish off with a road run. Ironman, you finish off with a road run. So it was a little bit different.
But
But
you
I
look.
was going to say the running's your most difficult one.
Yeah,
So the
it
fact that
is.
you've done Snowdon now,
Yeah.
any kind of running is going to feel a lot easier.
Well, the running for me is obviously it's just about building your engine. With that, and that's when now I've got 12 months to fully lock in with the training. As you say, I found Snowdon the toughest going up, especially. But yeah, it's obviously the bike. I love the bike. I feel like I could ride the bike all day. And the swim, I'm now picking up on the swim. I'm knocking my times down by 10, 12 minutes. Again, no, that's all about getting your technique right. And just swimming. At first, I'm like, right, let's go for it. But really, you end up going slower. Just take your time.
And how religious are you with your training? I mean, do you have a set training diary? You're quite casual?
You was on it, weren't you?
I do have now. I have a coach now. A guy called Tony P. Who he sets up my plans through Training Peaks. So basically, if I don't do one of my sessions, well, why have you not done it? So I'll tell him what I've got on in the week.
So will he pop up then?
work-wise.
So keep you...
Yeah, so then every Sunday he'll put what I've got to do the following week. So I'll tell him what I've got on following week work-wise, working the training around whatever else I do. And then if I can't do it, let him know that I can't do it and we'll fit it in. And if I can do it and I've not done it, well, why have you not done it? So it's great for that as well because you've got no excuses.
Yeah.
Which again, going back to the accountability. It's if you do the training on the day, then you've done the work. It's just about keeping yourself focused then on like you say race days. But if you've already done the training, you've got to do the training. Otherwise, it's gonna be tough on race day.
Yeah, and Scott, you're going from your first to your second. What? How's your training? Are you as regimented as that?
To be honest, it's not really started. I've obviously been doing my running. I've been doing a little bit of swimming, but I need to kind of step. I think once you've got it in the diary, that's why I said I need to book it today.
Exactly.
Because once you've got it in the diary, then you can build everything else around it. But yeah, I've definitely kept in the swimming in my regime now anyway, just purely because there's something really cool about seeing the progression because it feels like you're almost starting from scratch. Yeah. So you see a lot of progression really quickly. So I think that's why I've got the bug for the swimming now. But yeah, I definitely want to step things up and just get that time. He beat me by 6 seconds on the sprint triathlon. So we've got unfinished business, right? And my transition time was 6 minutes.
Yeah, it was long.
I couldn't get my helmet on, and I'm effing and jeffing. Trying to get.
He did get his helmet on. It was like that.
Yeah, it's like this. So I've got pictures like this. I like to look good and everything. I'm doing pictures going around like this. So yeah, I've got.
I think you could have given it more legs on the bike as well. I can't.
Oh, the bike. So basically, on the bike, I'm going round. It's my first time in a racing environment on the bike. I'm going around and I think I'm just beating everyone, but there's no disrespect. There's a lot of older gentlemen and women, so I'm smoking them, thinking, right, I'm going at a good pace. And it wasn't until like Brad came up to me, he caught me up, and he was like literally set the pace, and I was like, wow. And then that's when I felt like I was pushing myself, but I just kind of wished that I had him there the whole time. So it's hard to, I think that's why it's really useful to have a training buddy or partner for the day as well, someone that goes at kind of a similar pace to you, because then you know how to kind of push yourself and really push each other as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's something I'll be looking for the next one as well.
Well, let's bring it back to a first triathlon, which is what the core of this podcast is about, and just your thoughts and tips really for people who are maybe signed up, maybe they haven't signed up, and getting ready for number one. Brad.
My advice would be, I'm just speaking from my experience. I woke up randomly one day and thought, right, where's the closest sprint triathlon to me? And there was one coming up in, I think it was like 2.5, 3 months from when I seen it. Right, let's do it. Signed up. And then just gradually started implementing the training. And then next thing, it's race day. And to be honest, on race day, you kind of are going into the unknown a little bit, because I went into the race day by myself, but I had a little read up on what's what. And it's simple enough, but you've just got to take your time. Take your time with it and just enjoy it. That's the main thing. You know what I mean? As much as you're competing with yourself, you've got to enjoy it. You want to be finishing thinking, I love that. Even though that was tough, I loved it and I want more. And that's the feeling I got, which obviously set me up with signing up for the other events and then coming on board with the guys, which is amazing for me.
Scott, what would you like to add to that?
I would just kind of really agree with that, and just kind of add that you shouldn't overthink it. At the end of the day, you're swimming, biking and running. And I think a lot of us do overthink it. Like we have to be at like athlete level. We have to be kind of competing in the Olympics to even take on something like this. But in actual fact, just get in your local pool, get on your mountain bike or borrow a bike off someone and get running around your local park as a starting point and just start getting a little bit of a bug for it. Definitely do a sprint triathlon to start off, I would say.
I agree.
Because you can't really prepare yourself for that race environment, that race day until the day. And the sprint triathlon is just manageable distances that you can perfect your craft, learn the transitions, learn the disciplines and just get going. And I think like Brad said before, like, just enjoy it. So we went down with a group of our mates. We stayed over the night before. We made an experience of it.
It was good.
And it was something that we bonded together forever with because it's just, you're doing something new. So yeah, just don't overthink it. You're not going into war. But just make sure that you surround yourself with like-minded people who you can learn from as well. And lean on apps like the training apps. Even like obviously get yourself a membership with British Triathlon as well. They give you all the tools you need as well. So just make sure you take that plunge, but then just surround yourself with the right people and resources to complete it.
I feel as well, don't be afraid to ask questions, especially on the day. I was asking everybody, me. Honestly, like I even went down there without a wetsuit and I rented a wetsuit out. That's how unprepared I was, but I knew I was ready to do it. I felt good. I was nervous. But again, you're around people there's loads of people who are in your position. You're not going to be the first person who's not done a sprint triathlon.
Oh yeah, I lent someone some goggles literally just before South. Old guys like, has anyone got any spare goggles? I was like, I have.
It's beautiful because everybody wants to help. And like you say, then it's a nice community, and then you kind of make new friends there. And then like you say, keep in touch.
It's a really friendly environment.
Yeah, it's good.
It's honestly, everybody's got each other's back. As much as it's competitive, you will find a lot of people who will have your back, and you end up making best friends with strangers who will help you complete the race or help you direct you in the right direction or whatever it is. So you don't feel like you're going to be on your own, even if you did went and take it on your own as well.
Scott, Brad, I've loved having you here today. I mean, so impressed with your changing lifestyle, your physical change, but I think the mentality that you've talked about as well is just as important, and it's been fascinating to hear. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us,
guys.
Thank you so much.
Seeing you on the starting line again for number 2 and what will be number 4 for you. It's coming along quickly. Thanks.
Proper athlete now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for being with us.